'05 Chrysler Town and Country, the 3.8.
Oh.
Customer has white smoke coming out of exhaust intermittently after it smells burning coolant.
Yeah, it's right across over
Have you
there.
looked at it yet?
Yeah, I have. There's a the head gasket. I don't know if it's blown yet, but I can see from a head bolt where coolant's been coming out of.
Well, he's saying that it's blowing. And then I've seen the smoke out of the exhaust, and stuff. Whitish color, and he can smell it. Gotcha.
It's got 313,000 on it.
Okay.
But it's like clean. You would never guess it. But.
Yeah, cool. Let's go take a look at it. Have you diagnosed it as a head gasket yet?
Yeah. It's a little tough to see, but there's a head bolt right behind that plug.
Uh-huh.
You see all the white around it, like burn off coolant.
Oh yeah, I can see it.
Yeah. And then there's a trail that goes down the front of the block, and the coolant's like real sticky, like it's been kind of baked too, like it's just a slow leak.
It looks like somebody's done hoses on it, clamps. That ain't factory.
Yeah. New radiator too.
He blew it. Did he blow the radiator up, you think?
Maybe.
He told you he put a radiator in it?
No, that's just what I noticed when I was looking for coolant leaks.
Oh, yeah, it looks pretty freaking new, don't it?
Yeah, you can look through the side over there and see the cooling fins are just like clean and shiny. But it's not like smoking bad.
Did you smell it? Does it smell sweet?
It's not like
let me just rev it up.
Strong, but
you don't got to put your nose right on it, dude. Nothing?
Just a little condensation, but
have you did we get it warmed up real good?
Yeah. From the notes, it's like at times it gets smoky and other
rev
times
it up
it
for me.
but.
Yeah, he's burning antifreeze, dude. You can smell it. Okay. Huh. Still a pretty clean van.
Yeah.
Okay. Have anybody talked to the guy yet?
I don't think so.
Let me go call him.
Yeah, hi.
Hi, this is Dave. Thanks for taking my call.
This is Mr. Dave?
This is Mr. Dave.
Oh, Mr. Dave, pleasure to talk to you.
Pleasure to talk to you. So listen, I sent you some pictures. Have you had a chance to open up the text that we sent you? On each one, we've got different pictures under each notes, Some of them, but let's just deal with the top 10 there. Or actually, there's only 2, 4, 6. What I've taken is as best I could. You do have a blown head gasket, and it really doesn't take a lot of rocket science to figure that out. You've been adding coolant to it, and it's leaking out of the head gaskets. We can see it. That's why you can smell it. It smells sweet.
Okay, well, everything you're telling me, I kind of figured, but I just wanted to make sure. I wanted to be 100% sure.
Yeah.
It was from the head gasket and not like from the engine seals.
Well, a head gasket is an engine seal, but yes, it is. It's the gasket between where the cylinder heads bolt to the block.
Oh, okay.
It's not uncommon, especially with the car that's got 313,000 miles. Now, as I was looking it over, it looks like, have you put radiator hoses and a radiator in it recently or something?
If I put radiator hose?
Well, just tell me what work have you had done on it to try to fix this problem?
I did a radiator because it blew on me.
Right.
About 3 months ago, and then I did the hose.
Right.
And then I did. I've done a couple things. But,
yeah. Then let me explain something to you. This is like the chicken or the egg. What came first?
Okay.
The chicken or the egg? Your radiator blew. I noticed when I was looking it over. The tech did. Dylan, he noticed that it looked like it had a new radiator, and I noticed the upper hose looked new and a closed clamp, and so we just kind of saw that stuff. And it looks to me, this is the chicken and the egg. It looks to me like your head gasket blew and overpressurized the radiator and blew that radiator. That's not uncommon on a plastic tanked radiator. We'll need to fix the cause of why it blew the radiator, split that radiator open on you. I mean, you've got a radiator in there, it's holding pressure, it's still good, but you're going to ruin that radiator because it's just going to blow that one up again. So Matt is going to give you a price on cylinder head gaskets. Now let me explain a little bit when we do a cylinder head gasket. The engine sounds fine. It seems to run fine. It looks like you've tried to take pretty good care of it. I know it's got 313,000 miles on it.
Oh, yes, I did, Mr. Dave. Like I told Dono and Matt, I've had it for 16 years. And I tried to take care as much as I can. I bought it for with 40,000 miles, and I've looked all the miles I stick to it, man. I bought it like 3 or 4 times already.
Yeah.
You're a professional. You know that it's really uncommon on one of these vehicles to get to that mileage.
Yeah, you sound like a guy that that agrees with me. Maintenance can go a long way to.
Every single time I see your videos, all due respect, don't get me wrong. You open some engines, and you're like, you know what's the most expensive oil change that you did to none?
None.
Like, man, I remember one time you opened an engine, and the oil pan, when you put, it wasn't even oil, it was mud. I was pissed. I was like, people, how can they treat cars this way, you know?
Well,
and they have no idea what engines go through.
Yeah.
Like when it comes to like not letting the engine breathe properly and all kinds of stuff. But anyways, yeah, I follow you, and that's how I found out about you on social media. But yeah, I like I said, I'm not perfect, but I try to take really good care of my van.
Well, at 300,000 miles, a head gasket deteriorates, from corrosion and just the heat cycles. It's not uncommon. You got a cast iron block and aluminum heads, so the heat cycling will cause that scrubbing of the head gasket on a multi-layer steel gasket.
Sooner or later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll have. It's nice to talk to you. I just wanted to say hi to you. Figured, I used to drive an old Chrysler Town and Country. It was a 2000, and I drove it for 22 years. So
you drove for 22 years?
For 22 years, and then I gave it to one of my sons, and he's.
Well, I got 6 more to go, I guess.
Yeah. I wanted to explain to you, when we pull the head gaskets, to do the head gaskets, let me explain what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and we'll look at the cylinder walls. The engines doesn't burn any oil. I don't see any smoking coming out of the, oil smoke coming out of the tailpipe. You weren't burning oil in between oil changes, were you?
I was, Mr. Dave. I was.
How much?
It would burn maybe like a quart.
A quart every what? 3,000-4,000?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
That ain't burning oil, guy. You're never a brand new engine wouldn't give you any better. So if you're burning a quart every
something normal.
No, that's very normal. A quart every 3,000-4,000 miles, that's fine. Don't mess with that. That's good.
Okay.
But when we pull the heads off, I'll check them for cracks. We'll check them to see if they're probably going to need to be resurfaced. And we'll also vacuum check them to make sure they don't need like a valve job to freshen them up. And have you put a thermostat in it? Did you do that when it blew the radiator?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
Well, make sure I'll tell Matt that you did that because we won't need to do that again for you, and then we'll flush the cooling system, and you should be fine. But I'll have him get that quote to you, and we'll take care of it for you.
Okay, Mr. Dave. And so the bottom end is fine?
That's a good question. As best as I can tell, the bottom end is fine. Yes, sir, because you're not burning any oil excessively. I don't have any. Okay. I don't have any noise. Like rattling noises, like a bearing or anything like that. But this is just my 50 years of experience with my senses, my eyes, my ears, my nose, telling you that the bottom end is fine. I wouldn't know that the bottom end is fine without, like tearing it down. Yeah. And that's, I wouldn't be a good doctor if I told you I need to do that. I don't think I need to do that at all. I've asked you enough questions to know that you're not burning excessive oil. It's not making any noise. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's my motto. Yeah. So I tell you what, I'll have Matt give you a call here in a little bit, give you a quote on the head gasket, and sure appreciate your business. Thank you so much.
Okay, Mr. Dave, when you say give me a quote on my head gasket,
yes.
You mean both of them or only one side?
No, you would do both of them.
Okay, yeah. That's exactly what I wanted.
Yes.
Okay, that's fine.
Yes.
Pleasure to talk to you.
Pleasure is mine. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay.
Nice guy. I love nice customers. Give him a quote on the head gasket, like I explained to him. We'll inspect, the heads and the block, of course, the cylinder walls. We get the heads off, and I don't see any problem. I think we'll just be a head gasket job here, maybe a resurface.
One shift later.
I found some lifter and cam wear. It's pretty bad too.
Oh.
And some ring wash.
Oh, geez.
So you see the ring wash there.
This is a good example of ring wash.
It's kind of starting there.
Yeah, good for you, dude.
But then I also look through here. If you look down on the cam lobe, you see how gray it
Ooh,
is.
it's pitted.
Yeah, so
Yeah, let me see.
So I pulled the lifter out. The lifter actually doesn't look bad for as many miles as it has. It's got somewhere.
It's got a little bit, yeah. It's got a little
But-
bit of pitting on it.
But if you look down on that lobe, it's like,
Yeah, there's a pit right there.
but there's good pitting on this lifter and that lifter as well too.
Yeah, that lobe. Oh, yeah. Good picture, bro. It's delaminating.
Yeah.
The hardened surface is coming off. Yeah. Motor's junk. Well,
Yeah,
we
but if
told
you
him that,
look-
you know, that.
And then if you look on this lifter too,
Oh,
it's got all
geez.
that pitting.
Yeah, this thing's gone. But I have a good example, or you have a good example, because you're the one working on the motor. But let's rotate this motor over so that I can get this piston at top dead center, if we can. Can you just stick your hands through there, dude, and kind of crank that over? Can we get a socket through there?
Yeah. let me
I
see
think
what-
it's like
Get an eye
19,
on it.
19 millimeters, something like that. So what we're doing
Tell me when.
is I want to show you a little bit of this. Stop there just for a second, buddy. You see how this is really carboned up, is built up here, and it's starting to, we call that ring wash, where it's kind of getting clear here, but I'll show you a really good example of ring wash. And what I mean by ring wash, this is a motor that's burning oil past the rings. This cylinder will be really washed off. There you go, that's good, stop right there, bud. And when you see that on a piston, machine, we call that ring wash. And what that is, that's an indication that it's burning oil up through the rings. Now, if you have a piston that's completely steam cleaned off and it looks completely cleaned off, and there's no carbon on it, that's usually blown head gasket. That's antifreeze and water. It is steam cleaned the piston. But this is kind of a bummer. You know, we told the guy. And that didn't, you know, that lifter, we didn't hear, this motor didn't make any sound.
It ran just fine.
It ran just fine. And, you know, it's smoking out the tailpipe, but he's got blown head gasket, but,
Yeah, and it was leaking coolant out this head bolt here too, was the other thing we found.
Where-
Because it was all white around the head right there.
where are the gaskets?
The head gasket's right here.
Have we checked yet to see if they're
This
warped?
was the one for that side. The
Yeah.
heads are over in the machine shop.
So you can see where this is blown out here. See where that's all burnt?
Yeah.
It's an MLS gasket, multi-layer steel. It's got what, 3 layers maybe?
Yeah.
I think. Not too many, 3 layers in there. Not a very heavy duty MLS gasket. But this is the bad part of this job, you know. This guy has 300,000 miles on it. Could we put a head gasket on this and put it back together? Absolutely. Absolutely. And the cam will be as good as it was the day I took it apart. I'm not doing anything to the cam. But the problem is we have, you know, I guess it's kind of like when doctors cut a patient open and they thought maybe they can just do a bypass and then it turns into a heart transplant, because once they get in there, you know, there's more damage than they could tell. And that's exactly what we're faced with. It's not a good part of our job. We don't really particularly like it. But this is where you have to be honest with the customer and try as best you can to show them what you're looking at, explain to them that there's no machine on earth that could have told us these problems before we tore it down. That camshaft being more like that is, no one would ever notice that, especially without it making any noise.
So that's why you look once you tore it down.
Good point.
You know, because it's easy for me to get to this point, know I'm doing head gaskets, take the head gaskets off, put new ones on, get the heads done, and put it back together.
You know, Dylan, you make probably even a better point. That, you know, that's why you want a mechanic that knows what he's looking for when he's cutting a patient open, because you wouldn't want to take a guy's money and give him a false sense of security, like, hey, everything's fine in there, because you didn't really do your job and really look at the internals of that motor while you had it apart. It's our job. Sometimes we find things that are ugly, but here we go. We'll go call him and let him know. Okay, so we've got this problem, and it's a problem that shops run into all the time, and it's heartbreaking actually for shop owners, because we have to make that call. It's so heart-wrenching for the customer. It's kind of like an oncologist that has to go to a patient or, you know, a family and say, look, we thought it was just a little cyst or something. It turns out to be major cancer. And that's what we find. Now, a lot of people have approached me and they said, well, why couldn't you bore scope and find that cam or lifter problem before you tore it down? And my answer to that is you're never going to get a bore scope to go inside this galley, lift the lifter out of the way. You know, you'd have to lift that out of the way. You know, that's impossible. So I understand that, you know, a lot of people just don't understand, but I'm going to tell you that that's impossible. The ring wash here. Now listen, we could have, you know, disassembled, pulled all the spark plugs out of it. The bore scopes aren't perfect, but we'd have seen that. But we told the customer, you know, it wasn't burning oil. We talked about it with the consumption of the oil that he was having, and he did not want to build this motor. You know, he's got 300,000 miles on it. It's a clean van, and he didn't want to do that. A lot of people are saying to me, like, Dave, why didn't you just sell the guy a motor? Listen, those are the same people that would then accuse me of overselling. You know, I have to tell a customer what's wrong with the vehicle. Then we give them options, and we did quote him what a motor would be in this. And he decided that, you know, that was out of his budget. So we went in this hoping that we could fix it. Does that make us less than honorable? I don't think so. Does it make it that there's some things that we couldn't see that were in there that are obvious? Absolutely, like the camshaft. Could we have detected that maybe with an oil analysis before we tore the engine down? Possibly. You know, but these are all additional things that cost the customer money, downtime, and sometimes you just have to, you know, do your best. We learn, and these are real problems that shops have all over the country, and I hope customers understand it's not always a perfect situation, but I think what you need to be perfect at is your honesty, and, you know, letting the customer know this is what we found now with our teardown, and help them make a decision with options that'll work for him. I don't know what this customer is going to do. He might want us to find a used motor and have us put it in there. He might want me to rebuild this motor. He might want to just junk the car. Those are really his only options now. But me tearing this down didn't change that those were still his options.